Hey guys, Matt here. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be talking about something that's super important to businesses that are looking to grow and scale. It's a question that we get asked a lot in both the podcast and through the companies that we deal with at Tradie Web Guys and the Site Shed. And that is finding ways to, I suppose, systemize the approach when you're trying to grow and scale your business. Now, it's pretty much impossible to grow as a successful business without having systems in place, because the systems are there to create a consistent method of doing tasks or procedures or whatever it might be. So the reason that we have systems in place is because we want to effectively not be dependent on any one person to carry out a certain task or to carry out a certain process that goes on in the business. For example, if you have an administration aspect to your business, maybe accounting or whatever it may be, there are certain things that happen within that part of your business that can't necessarily be dependent on one person. And if they are necessarily dependent on one person and something happens, then it can leave your business in a bit of a pothole. So systems are there to alleviate that issue. They're also there to help you create an asset into your company. And when we look at, in the case of where businesses may be acquired or somebody's looking to buy a company, normally what they're buying are two things. It's firstly the systems and processes that run that organization, and then it's secondly the database that business has, so who they communicate with, who are their customers, and that kind of thing. So with that in mind, and we understand the importance of systems in businesses, and we get so many people talking to us and saying, look, this is really important, how do we go about doing this the right way? We've been doing this for a lot of years, and we've got a pretty good process down pat here, and as a result we've built what we call our wiki. And a wiki is basically an internal internet. It's like an intraweb, if you will. And so what the intraweb does is it enables us to store processes in a place that's a central location that we can then share with our team no matter where they are. We have staff all over the world, so it's really important that the staff get access to these systems and get to these processes so they can follow our procedures the way that we want them to be followed. So having this wiki in place is fantastic because it enables us to create systems, create processes, share it with whoever needs to see it, and we know that they're going to be following the exact same method that we set out in the first place. And if there's a problem with the end result, it's typically not the fault of the person carrying it out, it's typically the fault of the system and process. So we always go back and then we amend that system and process, and then we send that off to them again and say, okay, now let's follow this one. So I'm going to run through with you guys the business wiki because we have built this for ourselves, and then just recently we've started selling this to organizations as a way that we can help you guys create this asset into your company, and you can start getting some processes in place for your business so that you can have time to do what's ever important to you. It might be going on holidays more often, knowing that your business is still running. It might be taking time, more time with your family, or whatever it is. The bottom line is, if you've got processes in place which document the steps of certain tasks, then it means that you don't have to be the magic all the time, and people can follow those procedures and replace you in that area, and it's very important. So I'm going to run through this really quickly. And if you want more information, then by all means you can get hold of us. But I can tell you right now from my personal experience, from having these systems and processes put in place within our business, it has freed up an amazing amount of time for me to focus on things that my time is better spent at doing. So for you guys that follow the podcast, I'm going to show you a system in here, a full system that I've built on creating this podcast. Like just things like that. Our whole team can follow parts of that process to a T now. And what's even better than that is that the team is really good at making amendments to the processes so they can improve them. Because as I said before, when there's a bottleneck in one of the workflows, it's not always the fault of the person doing it. Actually, to be fair, it's very rarely the fault of the person carrying it out. It's nearly always the fault of the system. So if the system and the process is done correctly in the first place, then it just leaves a nice blueprint and a nice map for people to follow. So you can see over here in the sidebar that I've created a series of business categories, if you will. So we've broken the business down into all these different categories, and they all represent different areas, different tasks, and eventually it will represent as well different people that are representing those specific areas. So when we're talking about permissions, if you've got an in-house accounting department, for example, this finance section is going to be very relevant to them. However, it may be less relevant to your marketing department, for example. Anyway, the idea behind having it broken down in this format is that you're keeping a bit of structure in place with the business management side of things. Okay. So you can see here, this is the welcome email, and when a new team member comes on board, they get access to this and they can check it out. Okay, what's a wiki? There's a little video here with me talking to them. In fact, if you've just purchased this program, then there's a good chance that this video that you're watching right now is going to be embedded in the homepage of your wiki. And of course you can replace that with your own. That's the whole idea. So this is fully customizable. It's designed to be tailored towards your business. We've set the frameworks for it so that you can then go in there and you can populate it in a way that suits your business. And of course, if you need support and help, then we can always help you with that. However, it's really there for you to grab by the horns and run with it. And I'm just going to show you quickly some of the examples of like a system that you could that I've built in mine. Obviously, it won't correlate necessarily to your business. However, you get the idea. So if I go into marketing here and I go down to my podcast systems, I've got a system here on creating a new podcast page in WordPress. And if I open that up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of different systems that we've created that form that one task, if you will. So if I click on one of these, it's going to take me to a page that takes me to the very first step in that process. So once it loads, so you can see here, this is the first step, creating your folder in Google Drive. And here's a little video that goes along with that. And that's pretty straightforward. And then the next step is about creating the artwork for the episode. Same again, there's a little video that goes along with that. For some reason it's taking a bit of time to load. There it is. So you can see here this entire process has been really clearly mapped out and defined. And no, it isn't perfect. However, systems are there to be improved. They are a work in progress. They're there to be amended. So it's a fantastic place and a fantastic platform for you to start getting in there, creating the frameworks for your business, and then growing it and improving it as you go. And that should always be the goal. It should always be about improving it. It's not a one-stop shop. It's always going to be a work in progress. So keep that in mind. So anyway, this framework here is already created for you, as you can see. We like to promote the process on creating processes and the system on creating systems, because this is what will help your staff and your team members create the systems for you. You should be incentivizing them to do that, because obviously your staff are really good at doing certain things, or you employ them to do certain things, but if they don't show up to work, then what gets done? So you want to make sure there's a system in place that somebody else can potentially follow in order to get that done. And this is the perfect place to do it. So the good thing about this platform is it's accessible across any device. It's accessible, it's located in the cloud. So that means that you don't need, it doesn't It's not dependent on any files within your computer. It's not dependent on any specific server. It's cloud-based, so no matter where you are in the world at any stage, at any time, all you need is a connection to the internet, and you are able to access all of that intellectual property that is built within your systems. Anyway, I guess that's all I wanted to say. Is a really, in my opinion, this is probably the single most important thing you can do in order to set a framework for the successful growth of a business. Again, it's always a work in progress, and it always needs to be developed, but that is the beauty of it. This platform will enable you to develop it, and it will enable you to make it a work in progress. So enjoy. I hope you, if you have any problems, then let us know. I'm sure you'll be fine though. And otherwise, we look forward to hearing your feedback on how it's improved your business, and we look forward to hearing your story on how you've managed to grow as a result of employing these strategies and employing these systems in your organization. That's all from me. Thank you.